Good morning. Welcome to our Redshort webinar. My name is Mike Brusso, an analyst with Red Sky Alliance. Today we will be discussing hybrid warfare as a follow-up to the State of Ukraine Redshort from January. We will also touch on the role that independent or vigilante hackers have played in the conflict. Please check your chat window for a link to the reports. Keeping up with the ongoing events between Russia and Ukraine, and the rest of the world for that matter, has become demanding. Tensions have been on the rise between Russia and Ukraine for months, reaching a tipping point in late February, culminating with a boots-on-the-ground invasion. Russian cyber attacks have served as a prelude to the physical attack, which will likely become the norm going forward. To catch up, we are going to debrief some of the cyber-related events that led up to the invasion. Whispergate malware is the first wiper malware used against Ukraine. It was observed by Microsoft on January 13, 2022. The Whispergate malware behaves like ransomware in the sense that it makes the target system inoperable. Malware works in two stages. First stage uses ransomware tactics to overwrite the master boot record and posts a note stating that the hard drive of the target machine has been corrupted, like the message pictured. The second stage uses a beaconing implant to make an HTTPS connection and install a malicious payload. The payload disables and then deletes Windows Defender, and then it targets all of the files and directories except for the floppy drive, overwrites them, making them unusable. The difference is that unlike ransomware, this wiper malware does not allow for recovery once the system is corrupted. There is no decryption key. So when the malware finishes the corruption process, the machine is bricked. Another important difference between wiper malware and ransomware is the motivation. Ransomware attacks are used for financial gain, while the wiper malware attack, which targeted government, nonprofit, and information technology organizations in the Ukraine, was likely used to cause panic and disrupt the dissemination of information. The day after the discovery of Whispergate, on January 14, 2022, over 70 Ukrainian websites were defaced or otherwise compromised. The sites that were defaced included the Ukrainian Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education and Science, Ministry of Security and Defense, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Messages on the defaced websites were written in Russian, Ukrainian, and Polish. What is particularly interesting about the defacement attacks is that the images used contained metadata. Image metadata typically includes camera information, GPS coordinates, and imaging formats. The GPS coordinates usually come from the camera used to take the image and are not used on screenshots. The images used to deface the websites were screenshots, but they had GPS coordinates in the metadata. These coordinates were added by hand and showed the location of the Warsaw School of Economics in Poland. Polish responders believe this was an attempt at a false flag attack. Website defacement attacks are typically high visibility and low impact attacks, meaning they get a lot of attention, but they are usually resolved quickly. Many of the sites were temporarily taken down before being restored. Website defacement is a tactic that is often used by hacktivists. However, in this case, it is thought to come from Russian state actors. Between February 15th and 16th, Ukrainian banking, government, and military websites experienced the largest distributed denial of service attack the country had seen in history. Like website defacement attacks, DDoS attacks are usually high visibility and low impact attacks, gaining a lot of attention but quickly resolved. The DDoS attacks were likely used to cause panic among Ukrainian citizens. This panic was compounded with the spread of false information through an SMS text messaging campaign that began on February 15th. In the following week, on February 23rd, another round of DDoS attacks occurred. Targets again included Ukrainian banks and government departments, also including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the Cabinet of Ministers. Most of the websites were back and running within a few hours. The two largest banks in Ukraine, Ashgad Bank and Private Bank, were also targeted. There has been speculation about whether the second round of DDoS attacks was a distraction for the distribution of a new wiper malware. On February 23rd, ESET Research and Symantec discovered a new wiper malware, dubbed the Hermetic Wiper, also referred to as Foxblade. Similar to Whispergate attacks, analysts believed that the use of DDoS attacks was a distraction for the distribution of the wiper malware. The Hermetic Wiper was first compiled in December, which implies this attack was planned months in advance. This wiper malware targeted financial, defense, aviation, and IT organizations throughout Ukraine and in the neighboring countries of Latvia and Lithuania. The Hermetic Wiper uses legitimate signed drivers and is delivered through the benign EaseUS partition management driver. It corrupts the first 512 bytes on the machine disk, making the master boot record inoperable. Once the disk is corrupted, the malware shuts down the machine. Because the machine has a corrupt master boot record, it will not boot up properly and is effectively bricked. The Hermetic Wiper makes use of three components: the wiper, for wiping the data; the Hermetic Wizard, which is used to spread the malware on the local network; and the Hermetic Ransom, which acts as a decoy ransomware while the Hermetic Wiper is corrupting data. Hermetic Wiper also overwrites itself on the disk in an effort to hinder analysis. The following day, on February 24th, the Isaac Wiper was detected by ESET. Similar to the Hermetic Wiper, the oldest known timestamp of Isaac Wiper is months old, dating back to October 19, 2021. Researchers have determined that there are no code similarities between the two wiper malware strains, and that the Isaac Wiper is a less sophisticated malware. As news broke of the cyber attacks against Ukraine and the physical invasion that followed it, independent hacking groups started picking sides. The Conti ransomware group has been making headlines for the past few weeks, as the group's public announcements supporting Russia and Putin caused internal conflicts. The Conti ransomware group has members from both Russia and Ukraine, so it comes as no surprise that picking a side caused turmoil. Following a warning message from the group stating that they are in full support of the Russian government, and that they will strike back with full force at the critical infrastructure of attackers targeting Russia, a Ukrainian researcher leaked over 60,000 internal chat messages on February 27th. On March 1st, a Ukrainian researcher leaked more internal conversations and the source code used by Conti to encrypt files. This is a double-edged sword, as security researchers can now analyze the code and create defenses for it. However, with the code being public, new threat actors can create variations off of the code base. More variants of the ransomware will likely be seen in the future. The anonymous hacking group has also gotten involved by declaring cyber war against the Russian government using the campaign Op Russia. As of February 27th, the group claimed to have taken down 300 Russian sites, specifically targeting state media, government, and banks. The group has been busy. On Friday, March 11th, it was reported that they released 364,000 files, or 800 gigabytes, from Roskomnadzor, the Russian agency that monitors and censors media. Anonymous has also claimed to be responsible for messages sent to electric car charging terminals and broadcasts on Russian television programs. The Stormus ransomware group has also declared intentions to target Ukraine with cyber attacks in support of the Russian government. The Belarusian cyber partisans have issued attacks in support of Ukraine, targeting Belarusian railways used to transport Russian soldiers. While the physical invasion continues, Ukraine has asked for civilian help and international volunteers to help create an IT army to defend its own critical infrastructure and attack Russian and Belarusian systems. A counter to the IT army is the spread of the Trojan DDoS tool being spread on Telegram. The tool, which is called Liberator, is supposed to be used as a website bomber targeting Russian propaganda outlets. It is simple to use and ideal for supporters with a limited technical background. However, when it's installed, it actually loads the Phoenix information stealer and sends the information it collects to a Russian IP address. Individuals considering joining the Ukrainian IT army should strongly consider the risks involved, including the possibility of legal repercussions and retaliatory actions. The cause may be noble, but you're also putting yourself in jeopardy. As the war wages on, both physically and on the cyber front, the rest of the world has taken notice. Google's threat analysis group, TAG, has detected attacks from Fancy Bear, a Russian-backed advanced persistent threat, from Ghostwriter, a Belarusian threat actor targeting Polish and Ukrainian military and government organizations, and China-based hacking group Mustang Panda. Mustang Panda has also changed their focus from Southeast Asian targets to European entities, using phishing lures related to the Ukrainian conflict. Targeted phishing campaigns have been employed by Russian, Chinese, and Belarusian actors with their eyes set on Ukrainian leaders and the government. Spread of information and misinformation has been a theme as of late. It appears that it will continue on a global scale as the hybrid war format continues to blur the lines between fighters and civilians. Can't help but think of the 1983 movie War Games when thinking about amateur hackers attacking government entities. The impacts of their actions are uncertain, and it is a topic that I feel most cybersecurity professionals approach with extreme caution. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the material and found it useful. Thank you for joining us, and if you have any further questions on the subject, you can contact us via Jim McKee at jmckee@wapaclabs.com. If you are not a Red Sky Alliance member yet, please sign up on our portal at redskylliance.org. Your membership is free, and it will give you access to a variety of Red Sky Alliance content. Have a nice day, and we hope to see you again next week.